Hi, welcome to episode 25 of the Gentle Knitter podcast. My name is Nicole and I'm coming to you from Ottawa, Ontario. Today is Monday, September 3rd. Where has the summer gone? I can't believe it's September. It actually really doesn't feel like September or what in my mind September should feel like. It's sweltering hot here in Ottawa. As it's been pretty much all summer, just incredibly high temperatures and the humidity is off the charts. So if you notice a particular glow today, it's because I'm sweating like crazy. I will show you the sweater and then maybe we'll do that first because I just want to take it off. It's just been crazy hot. And I'm really ready for some nice, cool fall weather. Am I the only one who is always... I always think that as soon as September rolls around, it's going to be really cool, and I'm going to wear all this, wool and, tights and scarves and shawls, and it's never like that. It's always really, really hot, and we had one day last week where it was just a weird day where it was super cool, and I actually had a low-pee sweater on and socks and a shawl, and I was drinking pots and pots of tea, and I was in absolute heaven, but it didn't last. Anyway, enough complaining about the weather. It has been a beautiful summer. It's been a very busy summer. I've done quite a lot of traveling, and we also had friends staying with us, and what else? Well, I was super busy at work. We opened a new exhibit in July, and so right up until the end of July, I was incredibly busy at work. So not a lot of time for podcasting, I'm afraid. I apologize for being away so long, and thank you to those who send me messages, saying, hope you're okay. Yes, everything is really going well. I've just been super busy, and yeah, I mean, you know the score. I'm not a very frequent presence on YouTube or on Instagram or Ravelry, but I am here and ready to talk to you about some good stuff, some really beautiful things. So first off, let's just get this over with so I can take it off. This is my Fine Sands cardigan by Heidi Kiermaier, and I talked about it last time I podcasted. It is a beautiful summer cardigan, and I've been wearing it quite a bit. Obviously not as much as I thought I would because it's been so hot, but when I'm in air-conditioned areas, this is a perfect sweater. I knit it in Quince & Company Sparrow, which is their fingering linen yarn, and I really enjoyed working with it. I mean, linen yarn, as you probably know, is a little bit, it's very stiff, and it doesn't have any elasticity, so it can be a little tricky to get used to, especially if you're used to working with some kind of spongy, lofty yarns. But I actually really enjoyed working with it. It was nice to work with a cool material because it was so hot, and I love this cardigan. I love the way it's knit up. It's a top-down kind of yoke-ish construction, and I don't know if you'll be able to see. Yeah, there's regular increases, and I don't know if you can see that, but it creates a really pretty sort of sun ray effect, and so I really like how subtle it is, but it adds that little detail. I added a little slightly wider band than the pattern calls for in garter, just because I didn't want it to roll a lot, and so that's one modification I made. But other than that, I knit it pretty much as a pattern. I might have made it also a little bit longer, but it's got a really beautiful drape, and excuse the various sweat marks. It's crazy in here. But yeah, I'm super happy with it. It washes up beautifully. Linen, of course, as the more you wash it, the nicer it gets. And so yeah, I'm super happy with it, and it really made me want to knit a lot more summer garments. I have another summer garment that I finished to show you, but this one I would say was definitely the resounding success of the summer, and so I very much enjoyed, and I'm gonna now take it off, and excuse my very, very white arms. I'm not one for sitting in the sun, but I will show you the other. I will put it on very briefly. The other summer garment that I made, and I talked about this also in my last podcast, and now I can't remember the name of the pattern. I will put it down below. It's a Pam Allen pattern, and it's knit in the Quince & Company Kestrel, and which is also a linen yarn, but it is a tape, or kind of it's sort of yeah, a tape yarn. It's a tube kind of construction, so it's almost like an I-cord. And this is it. This is sort of the finished garment. It has that sort of very floaty, boxy shape and a drop shoulder. I have to say I haven't worn this at all. I think partly because it has been so hot, and you know, it's too hot to wear. I'm quite sweltering in right now, but also I have to admit that it's out of my comfort zone color-wise. I do love the color, and I will definitely make an effort to wear it because I think it's actually a color that suits me. But yeah, it's not what I want to reach for, let's say. But I think once fall comes around and it gets a little bit cooler, it'll be like a perfect transitional piece. Sorry, got dunked into my ice water. I'm gonna take a sip. I feel very flustered. Okay. It is hot. Sorry, I have to stop complaining about the weather. It's so boring and obvious, but yes, alas. And then the other thing I'm wearing is another thing I made for this summer. It is, excuse the sweat marks, this is really bad, but it's the Metamorphic dress. It is a pattern by So Liberated. So it's this pattern here, and I actually made a version that does not have the high-low hem. So it's a pattern, it's a really cool pattern. It's a reversible dress, and so you have the overdress has this this kind of higher hem at the front, and then the underside, this blue thing here, when you turn it inside out, you get this version here. So that she's wearing a dress under the dress, so it's a little confusing, but so I basically made this version without, it's not a reversible garment. I made just a one layer because, for a couple of reasons. Because first, it's so hot, I don't want 2 layers, and I wanted something really cool. Also, I used this this gray chambray fabric, and it has quite a bit of body to it already, and it's the kind of fabric that is not like it's not stiff, but it doesn't. Um, it's not super flowy either. So I was worried that with a second layer, that it would kind of sometimes bunch up and look sort of weird. So I think I've seen versions of this dress that were made with kind of a more fluid fabric, sort of rayon-y type of fabrics, and so it works really well with the 2 layers, but um, I didn't want all of that extra fabric, basically. So, but I like the overall lines. I do feel like I made probably one size too big, which is kind of what I always do. I'm so worried about cutting into my fabric and it being too small, because I always feel like, well, if it's too big, I can probably rework the pattern pieces and just adjust it to make it fit. But in this case, I sewed the 18, and I could have definitely gone down to the 16, yeah, so there's quite a bit of extra fabric. I don't mind the bust, but I do find that the dress is probably a little too billowy for my taste, but it's super, super, super comfortable, as you can imagine. I don't know, I have a hard time. I feel like everything I sew ends up looking a little bit like a nightgown. And, partly, well, not partly, I would say the majority of the reason is the kind of designs I choose and the fabric. I'm kind of into this kind of flowy, linen-y kind of dress thing, and the fabrics too are generally, they're a little more, I don't know, they're more natural, I guess, but it kind of sometimes can be a little stiffer and end up looking a little nightgowny, but do I care? No. I am really working hard to get away from the whole notion of everything having to be super flattering. Not that there's anything wrong with working with your shape and dressing to kind of highlight certain things and maybe minimize others, but this kind of notion that everything you make should make you look thinner and taller, I find, it's problematic from a feminist point of view. Why are we all trying to look thinner and taller? Well, I mean, it's not hard to figure out when you look at magazines, when you look at media. This is like a really boring, tired old argument that you've heard a million times, but it has definitely driven my choices in the past and led me away from styles that I actually prefer, because I didn't think they were flattering on me. And as I get older, I am caring less and less about that and caring more about being true to my personal style, the things that call to me, the things that reflect me, who I am, what I like. And so, if that ends up being, kind of Holly Hobby slash Amish slash maternity dress look, then so be it. That's what I like, and so I'm trying to make more honest, authentic choices in terms of what I'm making. I certainly want things to fit. I don't want, there's a silhouette that I enjoy. So, and I like to sort of have things that are A-line, that accommodate my, my overall shape, which is kind of pear shape. But this idea that, that I'm wearing something that might be a bit too floaty or too, or not slimming enough or not, sexy. I really, yeah, it's not me anyways. So anyway, all that to say is that I really love this dress, and I'm happy with it. Like I said, I would probably like to try making a smaller one just to see. This one just seems to have a lot of fabric, but I think it was a success. I will say the pattern is incredibly simple, and for that reason, I would say that it's very pricey. It's a pricey pattern. Now, of course, if you make it the way it's intended, you've got the 2 layers, and that, somewhat makes it more complicated, but honestly, it's, this dress had 3 pattern pieces. So you had the front, the back, and then the skirt part was you cut out 2. So, and there's pockets too that I didn't end up doing. So those would be a couple of extra pieces. So I find it an expensive pattern. I think I paid around $30 for it. But I know it's a pattern that I'm going to use again and again, and it really had the lines that I like, and and it's it's an independent company, so that's nice to support that. But I will just put it out there that I did find the pattern a little overpriced, but it is a lovely pattern, and I will get a lot of use out of it. So. In terms of works in progress, I have quite a bit of loveliness to share. Let's see. First off, I'm knitting a sweater in some very woolly, beautiful rustic yarn. It's yarn that I bought last year at Rhinebeck, and it's going to be my Rhinebeck sweater for this year. I'm very excited to say that I will be going back to Rhinebeck, and so hopefully I will see a lot of you there, and look forward to giving everybody big hugs, and come and see me, because I will, of course, hold up my tradition of bringing Canadian chocolate. So if you're trying to find me at the Podcasters Meetup, just look for the girl with a basket on her arm. That will be me handing out and bribing people with chocolate. Anyway, so I am knitting a sweater for Rhinebeck. I'm hoping to knit more than one, but this is at least the first one. And it is the Pomme de Pin cardigan by Amy Christopher's Savory Knitting, and it is a beautiful, it's hard to see, it's kind of a leaf lace pattern. I mean, it's not blocked, obviously, but it's an all-over lace pattern cardigan, and it's really a super simple shape. I'm going for not fitted, but not baggy either, just kind of slightly, with some slight positive ease, and it's worked from the bottom up. And the yarn, excuse me, the yarn is Flywheel by Hairspill Designs. And it's this stunning yarn here. I adore this yarn. It's so beautiful. It's a heavily sort of tweedy yarn that changes, the color. It looks like different colors depending on the light you're in. It looks quite gray from afar, but up close it has a lot of blue and a lot of reds and some golds, and it's just the type of yarn that I absolutely adore. It's really beautiful. It's a 2-ply. It's got quite a lot of loft. Obviously, I believe it is woolen spun, which I love. And I've been just loving working on this. I really love doing lace in fuzzy, woolly yarns. That's something I've always enjoyed. Just kind of that mix of the sort of delicate quality of the lace and the rustic, fuzzy quality of the yarn. I know that it doesn't, it kind of makes the pattern a little less easy to see. It makes it softer, and that's actually what I like. I like a garment that is not super obviously lacy, that has some of that softness, so it's not as fussy or fancy. It looks a little more rustic, and so I'm very excited about this. I would say I'm probably a couple of inches away from the armhole. I want it to hit kind of below my hip, and so I will keep going on this. It's not easy to work on when it's that hot, but I started this probably, I'd say, like a week ago, so I've been doing a lot of work on it. Of course, I've been, not of course, but I've been on holidays since the end of July. I've been on holidays for 5 weeks, and I go back to work tomorrow. Actually, I shouldn't say it that way, because I am looking forward to going back to work. I'm looking forward to seeing my colleagues and getting into a new project, but it has been really, really lovely to be on holidays, and I will miss the time I've had to to knit, to hang out with Marcel, to just go for walks in the woods. I will, of course, still do those things when I go back to work, but yeah, it's been really nice. I've done a lot of napping and a lot of reading, and it's been a very restful second part of my holiday. The first couple of weeks we were in Italy, which I will insert some video later in the episode to kind of show you some of the beautiful things that we saw and did there. And Italy was, we were in Tuscany. We stayed in Florence and did some day trips, and it was absolutely heavenly. I love Italy. I love just the people. I love the food, the pace, just the feeling of it. It's just really so beautiful. And I just felt so lucky that we were able to spend 2 weeks there. It was our 20th wedding anniversary, so we wanted to do something a little bit special, something romantic, and it was really wonderful. So anyway, so that was a busy time, and then we were back, had a week off, had some friends visiting, and we went to Twist, which I will talk about a little bit later, Twist Festival. And then I went to New Brunswick for a week to visit my parents, and that was really, really quite lovely. And then last week I was off again, just at home, and it was heavenly. And so, yeah, it's been a great summer. It's been really, really quite lovely. but back to the routine tomorrow, and that's okay too. It's good to get back into routine. So anyway, this is number 1 in my works in progress, and maybe, hopefully next time I podcast, it will be done. I definitely want to kind of focus a little more on recording more regularly, and my intention is definitely to record an episode before Rhinebeck to show you sort of the things I've finished and the things that I'm doing to get ready for that wonderful event. So anyway, first up was this. And then I also cast on a shawl for Rhinebeck, and this it's in a little boku kind of, I think she sells these sort of as just little, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a little bucket almost that you can put, just stuff around the house, or like a storage kind of little container. Or you can also put a houseplant. I've seen that, and it looks super cute. But mine, of course, has knitting in it. I love Aruna's work. Actually, I forgot to show you that my sweater is in my boku project bag, which is really so pretty. It's got a leather toggle. It's so beautifully made. Of course, the pattern is her design that she silk screens in-house, and it's just a really generously sized bag with, of course, with some pockets and some candy remnants. Anyway, it's a really beautiful bag that my husband got me, I think, at Christmas, and I really love it. I love how it kind of stands up like that, but then you can cinch it up and take it to go. But anyway, this one is holding a shawl pattern by Pia Camaborn of the Camabornia podcast, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. If you're not, you must watch Pia and Dennis's delightful podcast. Oh, my stitches have slid off the needles here. Let me just, yikes. Definitely have to fix that later. All right, there we go. It's called the Together Shawl, and it's a really, really pretty design designed by Pia. That is basically just a triangular shawl, very simple, but with these teeny tiny adorable baubles. And I wanted a shawl that wasn't lacy. I wanted to pair it with this sweater here, and I think that these look really beautiful together. So I didn't want a lacy shawl, but I wanted something that had some texture. And so I, when I saw her pattern, I knew that that was the right, it was what I wanted. And the yarn I'm using is some beautiful yarn that I've talked about several times, and is actually part of a giveaway that I will announce at the end of the episode, the Summer Solstice giveaway. But the yarn is by Riverside Studios, and it is her BFL base. It's a fingering, kind of maybe even light fingering. No, probably fingering, and it's beautifully hand-dyed. And it's a non-superwash yarn, so it's right up my alley, and it's so pretty. I love just the textural quality, if you will, of the colors. Especially, I think, once it's all kind of wrapped around your neck, and you just get these glimpses of the different colors. It's just so pretty, so dimensional, and you can't really see, but it's got a really amazing halo. I took some video of it, so hopefully you have or will see that when I edit this video together. But it's really pretty. It feels really soft. I mean, it does have a BFL slight textural quality, if you will, but it's just so drapey. And one of the things that I love about BFL is it has that halo, and it also underneath that has a shine because it's a slightly longer fiber. The hairs, the individual hairs are longer than, say, a merino, and so when it's spun up, it just has this nice long surface that light can bounce off of, and so it has that sheen that is beautiful, because the sheen, then the halo on top, there's just a magical, a really luminous quality, almost like if you've ever seen a misty day, but then the sun's kind of behind it, and so you have that, you've got the mist, but a luminous quality underneath. That's kind of what this reminds me of, and it does have those foggy colors too. So I'm in total love with this, and it's really easy to work on. It's really a sweet pattern. What I like is the way the baubles are made. It's slightly different from other bauble methods that I have used in the past, and it makes these really kind of very defined, and they're, it's small because it's not doesn't have a lot of stitches. I don't want to kind of go into how they're made because that's part of the pattern, but they're tiny baubles, and they're really well defined, and they don't seem to, sometimes the way baubles are made, they kind of pop, they kind of get reversed, but these ones don't, and I find them so satisfying, and just really, I just want to pet them, and they're just so cute. Anyway, all right, enough about the Together shawl, but Pia, you did a great job. I love this pattern, and I can't wait to keep working on it. I also knit some socks that I don't have with me because I actually made them for my dad, and I should have taken pictures, although they were just super plain vanilla socks in a dark charcoal yarn, so really not much to see, but he has really big feet, so it took me forever. They were really big, so that just tells you how much I love my papa, and he was totally worth it. So while I was there, once I finished his socks, I cast on a pair for my mom. And these ones are socks that I've knit before. They are the Hermione's Everyday Sock, which is such a great little pattern. It's just a simple combination of knits and purls, and it just creates like a lovely little texture that is really just suits a lot of different types of yarns, I find. The yarn I'm using is a commercial yarn. As you know, I've been kind of transitioning into more natural, non-superwash sock yarn, but I still have quite a bit of this type of yarn in my stash, and it's really great yarn. It's functional. This is Lang, but I don't remember. I know they have several different varieties, if you will, but I don't remember which one. But it's I bought it a long time ago. But it's a really pretty kind of indigo blue, and it's got nice variation. And so yeah, so I'm just making a very, very simple sock. And as I was starting to say, I still have quite a bit of this type of yarn in my stash, and not everybody wants to go through the trouble of hand washing socks. So I'm kind of using that yarn to do socks for gifts and for for people who might want a slightly easier to care for pair of socks. So that's those. And then speaking of yarn oh, I forgot to mention, it's in my very sweet Tiny Happy bag by Melissa Watsney. She has her shop on Etsy is Tiny Happy. She has a great blog. She's on Instagram, obviously, and she makes these really sweet bags. She's done some embroidery tutorials for Making Magazine. I think in the last, I was going to say the last episode, in the last issue of Making a Magazine, there's a tutorial for making, I don't know if it's bags or just the embroidery. Anyway, she's somebody I've been following for a very long time. I have quite a lot of her things. I know that I don't know if her Etsy shop has bags right now. I know Loop London carries her things. So anyway, she's one of my all-time favorites. And then the last thing the last work in progress that I have to show you is just in this super cute, it's like not a maker, it's a more mass-produced bag, but it's by Danica Studio, and I love this print so much. It's kind of like a beautiful rustic linen, and it's obviously printed on, and it's just a pretty botanical print with, moth / butterfly, I think moth, why not, and a little, what's that called, a Venus flytrap, and some ferns. And anyway, I just think this bag is super pretty. And inside, I have a sock. Now, I had cast on a different pair of socks with this yarn previously and shown you. I don't remember what the pattern was called, but it was basically just a plain sock with just a garter panel in the front, and they were way too big. I was knitting them on smaller needles, but there were lots of, like, I cast on maybe 72 stitches or something like that, and it was just way too big. So I thought maybe I should knit, because this is a sport yarn, maybe I should find a sport weight pattern for this. And so these are the Irish Oats socks, and it's written for, I believe, for come on, brain, Quince & Co.'s Chickadee. And this yarn is Tuku wool sock yarn. And anyway, I love this pattern. It's so pretty. I just wanted something super woolly with a little bit of cables. So it's got 2 cables and then a moss stitch panel in the middle, and then just a plain back. And this yarn is so, so nice. It's super woolly, super rustic. The color is a little more golden than it's coming out. It looks a little greener, and in real life it's got a beautiful gold sheen to it. That's maybe a little more closer to what it looks like. So, not much to see here, but I started these yesterday, so I've just been flying on them and really loving the simplicity and the ease of the patterns. So those are going to be at least one of the pairs of socks I bring to Rhinebeck with me. And yeah, so these are really lovely to work on. and very curious to see what wearing them is like and sort of getting into the routine of hand washing socks. Yeah, should be interesting. These are knit at a slightly looser gauge, and so I will have to maybe be mindful about um, what shoes I wear them in, and sort of maybe not wearing them super often because of the looser gauge, but we'll see. This sock yarn does have nylon in it, so hopefully it'll be fairly durable, but I really love the way they're turning out. A couple of weeks ago, we had in Ottawa, or in the Ottawa area, we had our yearly Twist Festival, which is a really fantastic fiber festival. They bill it as the largest fiber festival here in Canada, and it definitely is a beautiful and big festival. And so had some friends visiting from out of town, Amanda and Valerie, and that was really great to see them and hang out with them. We also, Valerie was staying with Lee of Quiet Lee on Instagram, who I talk about all the time. And so we all got together for dinner and then went to Twist together and had a really lovely time. And at Twist, I just come back from my trip to Italy, and so was feeling a little like my wallet was a little bit light, so I didn't really want to buy a lot of stuff, although I saw a ton of things that I would have loved to buy. In particular, the Farm to Cable Company, who I've talked about in the past. They are a really amazing online shop here in Canada, and she had a booth and it was absolutely stunning. I wanted to buy everything in her booth. She had tuku wool, she had Rosa Pomara wool, she had little gray sheep, which I absolutely need to get my hands on. There was some really beautiful, it was, I can't remember what the makeup of the yarn was, but it was I think like a worsted or Aran. It was a fairly thick kind of sweater wool that was over dyed, like it was yarn that probably either was gray or brown, but then was over dyed with really beautiful jewel tones, but it lended kind of a muted quality to the jewel tones, and I totally want a sweater made with that yarn. I'm more and more thinking about jewel tones. I mean, those socks that I showed you have that quality, that muted jewel tone quality, and I think, fall is always a time where I think a little bit outside of my gray and blue box and look to things that are a little more vibrant, and I would really love a sweater in a kind of a rusty, a really rich rust color, because I think that it looks really great with the blues and grays, but it would just add that little pop. So maybe I'll have to kind of keep that in mind when I'm at Rhinebeck to get something in a more, in a richer color. But I did get 2 skeins of yarn at Rhinebeck, at Twist. And this is yarn that I had really had my eye out for this booth because I'd heard about them but had never seen their yarn in person. The company is called Bleu Poussière, and it's actually yarn that's hand-dyed here in Canada. She lives in Quebec, and it's all natural dyed yarn. And you should definitely follow their Instagram account because there's some stunning yarn in there. And I didn't want to buy a lot of things, but I thought I would set my little bit of spending money aside for some of her yarn. So the yarn I ended up picking up is a mohair silk blend, and it is stunning. Here it is. Her base, she calls it the Nebula base, and so it is 70% kid mohair and 30% mulberry silk, and the kind of beigeish tone is called Ellesmere, and it is dyed with some mushrooms, the polypore mushroom, and it's very, very pretty. It's blowing out a tiny bit. It's a soft kind of grayish sand color. And then the other skein I bought the color's called Blue Moon, and it's dyed with indigo. And it's a very pretty it's showing up more silvery blue, and in real life it's a bit warmer. So it's got a little more of a slight aqua tint, which I love. I don't know if, no, it's not showing up the way it is in real life, but it's a warmer blue. It's got a bit more teal in it, if you will. And I don't know what I'm going to make. Probably some kind of a wrap or shawl, maybe striped. I've noticed a lot of renewed interest in this type of yarn. When I started really getting into knitting, one of the hot yarns was Rowan's Kid Silk Haze, and then it just seemed like mohair sort of fell off the radar for a while, but it's back on. A lot of people are combining mohair with other yarns to create really beautiful halo-y fabrics, and I am 100% in favor of that trend. So who knows, maybe I will combine these with something else and make a pullover or something. I don't know yet, but this is all I bought, but it was very, very precious purchase, and I really enjoyed meeting the creator of Bleu Poussière Yarns. We had a lovely chat, and she generously gave me some yarn, which was really lovely and not expected, but anyway, I really loved meeting with you and just love her product. It's really luscious and beautifully made. So yeah, Twist was a great time. Like I said, I could have bought tons. There was a potter that had some really gorgeous things that I, really had to resist. But anyway, we had a great time. It was a beautiful day, and I highly recommend that festival if you get a chance to come next year. It's really lovely. There's a lot of local or regional makers and a lot of farm yarn, so I really appreciate it for that. I also wanted to say a big thank you to everybody who came up to me and said hello and gave me a hug, and it's just it's really lovely to meet people in person and just put a face to the names of the viewers. So thank you. So a few recommendations of things that I've come across that I think you might be interested in. First off, frankly, probably doesn't need me to promote it because it's just been, I think, a huge success. It's the latest issue of Pom Pom magazine. And Pom Pom is I feel I don't talk about it enough. It's a really lovely publication. They feature a lot of indie designers and a lot of indie dyers, and they also publish books. They publish knitwear design books. What am I trying to say? They publish books of independent knitwear designers. In particular, they did a book with Bristol Ivy last year, which was really beautiful. I think it's called Knitting Out of the Box, something like that. And I'm super excited that this year, launching at Rhinebeck, is a book that features designs and the yarns of my friend Emily Foden, who is Viola Yarns. I've talked about her beautiful work before, and they're putting out a book, and it looks heavenly. I've only seen, glimpses of things that Emily's put on her Instagram feed and also the Pom Pom Ladies, but I'm super, super excited for that book. And I kind of feel like this gives us a little bit of a taste, just because Emily's aesthetic is quite dreamy, and her colors are always very gentle and very just moody, but in such a great way. And I would describe this issue of Pom Pom in a very similar way. All the designs are have that kind of magical, moody quality. The theme is the moon issue, and the cover, I think you've all seen this incredible design, which features the phases of the moon. Look at that gorgeousness, and the model, everything. This is such a beautifully styled issue. The that sweater, I mentioned the designer because I just think it is so well done. The design is called Ixchel, Ixchel, but they have a very helpful pronunciation guide here, Ixchel, and the design is by Catherine Clark, and it is so beautiful. I am sure I will keep my eye out. I'm sure I'll see lots of these at Rhinebeck. I would love to do a version that is kind of more muted. I love this version. It's very graphic. It's very bold. But something in a fuzzier yarn might be cool, just to kind of soften those edges a little bit, as I was saying earlier. Just, it's what I like. But I would say, like, the whole issue, every pattern is really, really pretty. The pattern that I am eyeing is called Hecate, the name of a goddess. A lot of the names of the patterns are either goddesses, or they are about healing plants, so of course that's right up my alley. But this, what I love about the shawl is that sort of got a stripe motif, but the stripes are actually little crescent moons. And the yarn used is Emily's yarn. The mohair is Viola's beautiful mohair blend, and then the other yarn is actually dyed by Julia Billings, who is Woolen Flower, and she is also a maker that I've admired for a very long time. She makes all kinds of things. She dyes yarn, she makes these incredible project bags out of Harris tweed, she designs patterns. She designed the Big Star shawl, which is a shawl that I knit several years ago. It's one of my very favorite shawls. I adore that pattern, and I would love for Julia to put out more patterns, hint hint. There's this stunning cabled sweater called the Caradwin sweater by Fiona Alice. And then I really love this this cowl, Hypatia, I think, which was a renowned astronomer, mathematician, and philosopher in Byzantine Alexandria. Was accused of satanic practices, beguiling politicians through witchcraft. Oh, very cool. This cowl is so pretty because it has, again, kind of like a crescent moon, but then with the full moon motif done in color work, and it's designed by Carissa Browning, and I think that's so pretty. Yeah, there's just, there's this one is my absolute favorite, the Sky Map. And this is all Viola's yarns in her mohair silk blend, and that is like the yarn I showed you from Bleu Poussière. I feel like there's a lot of this kind of yarn being used now, and I love it. But this is just stunning. I know she's selling kits for this on her website, and it's so pretty. I believe it's knit kind of as a tube, and then it might be using the yarn double. Yes, knit is a long stockinette tube in Emily's own Heavenly Viola Mohair lace, and then the tube is anchored by the embroidery. So you embroider little moon and stars. It is absolutely stunning. I also really love this sweater, which is completely out of my sort of comfort zone, I guess. It's a pullover with a fringe, and I don't know, I'm not sure. I love the fringe, I love the way it looks. I'm not sure I would wear that, but what I really like is the shaping of the sweater. I don't know if you'll be able to see. Kind of. It's got a beautiful arch, and that's kind of the front has the fringe all along, but it kind of has this yoke that I think is really, really pretty, and it's kind of a boxy sort of loose sweater, which I really like. I love the inky color of the main color, and the fringe is a beautiful mix of Hey Mama Wolf yarns, so natural dyed yarns, and I love this ombre effect. So I don't know, I'm just not sure how I feel about wearing that kind of fringed sweater. I'm afraid it would end up looking a little kind of Western wear, but I do find it really pretty. I think it's the mix of the ombre and the kind of dusky lavender with the dark inky blue. I think that's what's really attracting me, plus the shape of the sweater. But yeah, this issue is so great. It's got articles, one here, which I haven't read yet, but it's about the cycles of the moon and how, as women, we are kind of in tune with that through our cycle, and but then with knitting, and I love this illustration of this really awesome older woman who's, I don't know, she's a knitter, she's kind of got that witchy vibe. There's an article with Emily, Shoot for the Moon, and it is about her upcoming book, which is called Knits About Winter. So you know that's right up my alley. And it features a lot of beautiful photos of Emily's studio, and having been there, it is a really, truly heavenly place. And that's where they did the photo shoot. So I'm excited. I'm so excited for this book to come out. Here's another detailed picture of that wrap. I think I do really need to make that. It's really beautiful. So, you know, brava, I guess, pom-pom people. This is really beautiful too. This brioche pullover called Luna. So elegant, so simple and clean, but just that type of detail that really is stunning. I like just the textural quality of the front and then the sleeve. It's really, really stunning. Like I said, I would pretty much knit everything in this issue. So if you haven't picked it up, I highly, highly recommend it. The newest issue of Pom Pom magazine. I think that's going to be it for me. I really enjoyed catching up with you today, and I hope you're all doing well. And we'll talk to you very soon, I hope. All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye. Hi again. I forgot to announce the winner of the Summer Solstice giveaway. And for those of you who don't recall, I was giving away some beautiful Riverside Studios yarn, also a gorgeous mitten kit by Fox and the Sheep, and Making Stories' latest publication, Breeze. So I let random number generator pick the winner, and it is Bonjour Simone on Ravelry, and her name is Simone, and she's from Newfoundland, so a fellow maritimer. So congratulations, Simone. Get in touch with me, and I will get your coordinates to send those goodies out as soon as possible. I also am going to insert here a little bit of footage from my trip to New Brunswick as well as our trip to Italy. So I hope you enjoy that, and we'll see you soon. Bye!